you start out by doing like done for you for like one business or whatever, where you learn, like you're helping them get clients with digital marketing, you learn the platform and everything, you get pretty good at it, and you get them results, and then you start adding more clients, and then you're like, sweet, like let's scale this thing. So you keep adding more clients, but then very quickly you realize that you're the bottleneck, and that you're now maxed out with, let's say, 5-10 clients. And then you think, all right, this is a simple equation. I just need to add more humans. So then you start doing that, but then quickly you realize that they're hard to find, like it's impossible to find them at the skill level they need to be, first of all. And then it's quite hard to find them even with the potential to have that skill level. Then you find them with that potential, then you've got to train them, and that's a whole project in and of itself, and that takes time. And then you start, getting more clients and getting more humans, and then you can keep scaling, but then it reaches like there's a network effect in there. And what I mean by that is, when it's just you, there's one possible thing. When there's you and one other person, there's only like one connection. You know what I mean? And then as you get to 3, 4, 5, it gets exponentially more complicated because there's so many different things in there. And that's when it starts to kind of wobble. And you're like, man, I'm going to need managers. And managers for managers, and managers for managers for managers. And then we're going to need a whole, like, recruiting farm. Just because, like, just to manage the outflow and the inflow. And then you start thinking about it. Then you're like, I'm going to need a department just for billing. I'm going to need a department for, like, everything. And I don't know if we can actually quality control it at massive scale and actually produce really good results. And so that all troubled me. But the biggest thing that troubled me was that there's this perception with an agency and done-for-you services where the business, they hire you to deliver them results. And then when they hire you, they pay you the money and stuff, and then they're like, cool, just get me some results. And they're just kind of like, go do it. And then you might set up a funnel, or you might set up some ads or whatever, and do it really well, and do your job really well, and deliver them leads and traffic and all of that. But it doesn't overall get them the results that they want. And a lot of it is actually because their business it's broken. And it's because they don't have good salespeople. Like, they might not even answer the damn phone. I can't tell you how many times we'd be generating calls for, like, plumbers and stuff, and no one would answer the phone. Or if they did, they were just, like, not interested. I was like, hello? Like, I was like, man, because we had the call recordings from all of these calls because we were doing, I think it was called Delicon or something. Like, we used this call.
That on from the blueprint.
What was it called again?
I don't remember, but you're right. It recorded all the calls that you generated for your clients so that you could listen in.
Yeah, I'd listen to them, and I was like, oh my God. And I'd tell them this, and I'd, like, try to, like, help them with it. And then they kind of weren't interested. And if they were interested, I had to babysit them and give them, like, a script and stuff. And I was like, man, I'm getting too involved. And then I would fix that part. But then I was like, then I would go into their store, if some of them had stores, and I would notice that, like, they had one intern kind of person that was on staff, just on their phone, just totally disinterested in who was in the shop. You know what I mean? And I was like, man, even if I do get people to come in, like, this crap's going on. And then they started telling me, like, I was getting this company good results. And then they started saying, oh, we're going to have to, like, cut back our budget. And I was like, why? It's working. Like, we're getting you ROI. We can prove it. And she was like, yeah, I know, but we've just ordered a whole bunch of new inventory and we're in a cash crunch. And I was like, why the hell did you do that? Why, like, we've got something profitable working here. Why? You got too much inventory already. That's what we're trying to sell. Why did you go and order more? And she was just like, I don't know. And I was like, man, I'm getting penalized here. I'm succeeding, you're succeeding, and yet we're getting penalized, and everything's going to have to, like, get ground to a halt because you made a stupid decision. And I just noticed this more and more. And then I dug into it, and I found out that the reason why she ordered so much of this crap was because they had no inventory system. So then I was like, where is your inventory system? And they showed me a Gmail. And I was like, this isn't an email. This isn't an inventory system. And she was like, yeah, but I drag these emails into here. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, how do you know how much money you're making? And she was like, I don't know. And I was like, I had this realization. I was like, holy shit. There is like nobody out there. Because I used to think maybe these were just the businesses that didn't have their shit together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I was like, it's all right. I can, I've learned my lessons with these ones, but I'll just try to grow my agency, helping companies that are highly organized and have their shit together and are on the ball. But then I found out that there is like none of those. Like those are unicorns. They don't exist. And if they do, they don't really need help. So I was like, the agency model in my mind was kind of built upon an idealistic assumption that these businesses, the only piece they were missing was the marketing, and that if we did send them traffic, they would convert it, and they'd have a good product and a good support mechanism, and they would actually add value, and their customers would be satisfied. And I was just like, it was too idealistic. And no matter how well I did my job, it still wouldn't work unless they did theirs, but this piece just didn't really work. And that's what really drove me off the edge with that one. I was like, I can't do this. I also can't get that involved in their business. I may as well buy their whole business, right? If I'm going to go and do that. And then on the opposite side with the programs, right? Like a course, I was actually amazed what happened there, because the assumption is that done for you, it gives clients more value than a course, because you do it for them,
Yeah.
You just do it all. They just like have a sleep in or something, you know what I mean? And the thing with a course, you're like, oh, they don't want to do any work. They don't want to learn anything. That's the assumption there, kind of, for most people. But with the course, what I found is that people actually took responsibility for their site, for their business. I told, it was a more holistic thing. I was like, look, you need to have a good product. It needs to solve a problem. You need to be differentiated from the competition. Your pricing needs to be good. And you need to have really good operations. You need to have good inventory. You need to have good support. You need to have good salesmanship. You need to have processes for things so that it's predictable. You need to have good numbers. You need to do all of this. And then the marketing will work. And when I actually gave it to them and I said, it's all on you, they actually took responsibility. Whereas with the other model, they just looked at me as if I was going to come in and start walking on water or something, Yeah, so the reason why it took me so long to get rid of it, in light of all of these negatives which I just talked about, was because of all of these beliefs that were kind of reflected by society's belief too, and the general public opinion at that time, which was like, those that can't do teach. That's like a saying, right? And I just had that saying in my head a lot, and I was like, and I had done courses by people who were just bullshitting, and that's obvious that they had never done, and I never wanted to be one of those people, and I always thought those people were sketchy and scammy. And so I really liked it. It was I thought it was like my identity and my point of difference, that I did exactly what I told people how to do. And I had a real business, right? That was another one of those things, a real business. It's like, well, define real, man. Like, a business is something that adds value to someone, solves a problem for them, and there's an exchange of money, right? That absolutely was happening with my course. The only reason why the agency was more real was probably because there was more human components and the presence of a atomic office, there was atoms there, you know what I mean, instead of just all being bits virtually. But the more I analysed that, I was like, that's just kind of stupid. This is a real business. It's just not perceived real by these common folk. And then I was like, also, you know how to do it because you're doing it and you do it really well. And so obviously that those that can't do teach thing doesn't really apply because you've done it. And I also hung on to this thought that I have to keep my agency so I can keep working with clients to know what to do to teach people in the course. But that wasn't true really either, because at its core, what I'm teaching people how to do is market, sell, get a good product market fit, know their numbers, and run a good, profitable business that grows fast, right? And is efficient. Now, I'm still doing that with my course business. My course business has to market, has to do funnels, has to do ads. It has to be efficient and make money and all of that. So by focusing just on that, I am doing it.
Gotcha.
Do you get what I'm saying here?
Gotcha. Let me ask you this. I think one of the benefits that people think about, and I'm asking this not just for me, because I'm sure other people think about this as well. I think people are attached to the idea of being able to rebuild a customer over and over and over again, month after month, and getting, from I guess in their mind, if you look at, one of the numbers that I'm sure you guys take a look at, because we look at it for ourselves, for our academy, is, average earnings per lead or earnings per sale over a period of time. You know what I mean? And I guess in my mind, one thing that I was attached to, and maybe a lot of people who are in the agency space are attached to, is that whole idea of I get to bill this person over and over and over again for whatever amount of money, versus billing them or charging them one time for a course and then it'd be done. Like, what were your thoughts on that when you were kind of making that transition? And I guess what is it that maybe the person on the other side of the fence doesn't see, that maybe that can also still be used? You know what I mean?
Sure. So I'm glad you brought this up, because this is one of those things that's like the courses isn't a real business thing. It's it's a real, very stubborn belief that monthly MRR, monthly recurring revenue, is way better than one-off revenue, because there's this assumption that I've got monthly recurring revenue, which means that I don't even have to do anything next month. I don't even have to do anything or get any more customers, and I'll still continue to make money. All right?
Yeah.
But that's bullshit, because there is a thing called churn. And churn is an evil, nasty thing that is very hard to tame. Yeah. And almost nobody can tame it well. And if you look at you need to look at your attrition rate. And so if you have, if you're acquiring 4 customers a month, then there's a high chance that you're going to also start losing 4 customers a month. And you have to do a lot of work just to hold. That's what nobody factors in. They see the stickiness of the revenue, but they assume that it's going to keep billing forever.
Yeah.
Right? And there's multiple issues with this, because the first one, and this is the big one, is that there's a trough in the cash flow model. And what I mean by that is, and this is the nastiest thing of the whole, I'm just going to draw it quickly for you. So if we've got here, imagine, I'll just make sure you can see this thing. So imagine here can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's say you're doing an agency and you're charging $2,000 a month for Facebook ads or something to some business, right? Well, you've got to pay money to acquire that customer. There's going to be advertising spend. There is also going to be probably some salesman salary, or commissions, or both. And there's also going to be time and all sorts of things in there. And let's say that it costs you, let's say it costs you $2,000 to acquire that customer, right? Which is, that's still pretty good.
Yeah.
What a lot of people find is it probably costs more than that. And then, so if you get a customer, you've gone down minus 2,000, right? So you've gone, let's say here's 0, and you've started here and you've gone down 2,000 to acquire them, and then they pay you 2,000, now you're back at 0, right? And so then, each month, after month, you're starting to go up. But the problem is this area down here. And there's this whole myth that it's all about like LTV, like lifetime value. And people like have just been brainwashed with this crap. People keep spouting off like, dude, it's all about lifetime value. If you know you're going to make like 40 grand from a customer over their lifetime, over the next 10 years, then you can afford to pay like 30 grand for that customer.
Yes.
And I'm like, no, you can't, you idiot. Because if you're only going to collect that in 2 grand a month, then you're $28,000 negative on that 1 month.
Hey, what's going on, guys? If you guys like that video, then please make sure to give it a like. And also, if you want to try out Sam Oven's course for free, make sure to click that link pinned in the comments. And it's going to take you to this page right here, and you'll be able to go ahead and try the Consulting Accelerator for free. And if you sign up and you end up liking it and you end up joining, then I'm going to throw in a couple bonuses also that you can't get anywhere else. So not only do you get like a discount through joining through this link, but you would also get an Alex Becker course. And it's actually not just one, it's actually a couple Alex Becker courses here that teach you how to do webinars. And also you get access to a free SMMA course, and you get access to some sales calls and some updated organic outreach training only given to me. So hope you guys like it, and see you on the next one.